Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the new week of the today, Monday, the 15th June 2026. On behalf of all Datapoint Online Academy, we welcome you to a brand new week. Today, we're going to be having fresh technical analysis as we usually do. And we remember last week we had a very fantastic week, although there was still some lapses on fundamental news that affected some other markets. But the biggest thing is that we all heard Elon Musk has become the toppest, richest, or whatever in the world with trillions. Well, we that are pursuing millions, may God allow us to have it. And remember, these are part of the fundamentals I always say that whenever you hear news, take advantage of it. I could remember last week, Friday, I did technical analysis on Nasdaq, and I said we're going to be bullish throughout this week or this start of the week. And some of us who were smart enough took advantage of that fundamental to know that since SpaceX was listed on Nasdaq platform, which the Elon Musk was the one who rang the bell at the close of the market on the US stock exchange. So that shows that there will be a volatility in Nasdaq because it's coming from the SpaceX, which is um, one of the commodity or indices that are listed on the Nasdaq platform. So what are we now expecting? It's one of the biggest tech so far. Now what we're expecting is going to be we're going to have a volatility. Now let's look at the technical analysis. But if you don't have that video where I mentioned that technical and the fundamental movement of Nasdaq, please do like and subscribe to our YouTube so that you can always have all our videos and activities we do here, because we have a lot. We do tech, we do forex, we do social activities that relate to wealth, most especially how you can create wealth on investment and all that to yourself. So please do like and subscribe to our YouTube. Thank you. So let's move into the chart directly. We have Nasdaq. Now, what are we expecting today? I think for me, I'm still expecting the volatility, a bullish. But let's look at let's remove every chart. So we have, now let's look at former monthly. Our monthly is still on a bullish. That's why there was a retracement, but the candlestick we are having here is a hammer, which shows that we are still looking up. So that is the first direction. Then on the other direction, we have the volatility that happens this week shows that we are moving up. Then we have a resistance that we should be expecting. We have a resistance somewhere here. So let's mark that resistance. We also have a support somewhere here. There is another support, that resistance that's turned to support somewhere here. So we have that too ready. Now we also have a resistance, a support somewhere here because of this retracement that happened here. So automatically we are looking up again. Now let's look at daily. On our daily, we're going to have now it has given us a resistance and we're expecting a support. So what we'll be looking at is this market is going to still move up. We're expecting this because it has been bullish. You can see this. Now we expect this was a retracement and we're still going to be looking up again. Now what we'll be looking at, let's see if we can first of all get to this resistance. By the time we get to this resistance, we should be able to say, okay, let's look downward to this. Possible to come down depending on what we see in the market under the fundamental, or possibly we go up again. But remember, there's always something that happens when a product or a commodity or when any stocks is being listed in the market, first time we see volatility on bullish in most cases. But after that bullish for some days, you see a retracement. So I'm expecting this market likely to like come to this resistance, then uh, come down to this level again before we can take any other direction, either to go down to this or we look up to this. But for me, we're going to be looking more of fundamental to determine the next direction of Nasdaq. Then on our daily, if we are to trade this market, we'll be looking at this zone. It shows that the market is still on the volatile mood because it has not really tested the trend of last week. Now, what we need to do here is to have a mark of this. So we're going to have a trend like this and see what the market is going to bring down. Because remember, there's always this gap we normally work on. This since there's a gap here, this is there is a gap in between here. So we will expect this market to come here, come back to this trend line, then possible go up again. So we'll be working in between this resistance of 30,819 to 28,324. So the market will be ranging in between this zone until any direction is given. But we still expect a breakout because SpaceX is a very strong stock that will determine more market interest. So there's going to be a bullish on this level. So I think that is what we'll be expecting for Nasdaq. Now let's look at so for those who trade lower time frame, you can as well check down because we're going to be having, but this resistance is very strong, and that is where everybody will be looking at. We are going to be looking at that resistance to market to get to this resistance before maybe coming down to cover this gap, then push up again, right? Now let's look at gold. Let's look at gold. This morning we also had a gap. That gap is here, and what we'll be looking at is to see possible way we can. The market is still going to come to this resistance, then possible come back to fill up this gap, then go up again. I think it's the same direction with the Nasdaq, but for so far so good. We're going to be looking at if you check 4 hours, you will have on the 4 hours you will have it's still looking at a downtrend, but there's going to be a little volatility upward. And let's check our daily, which normally I use daily as my trend line, as my take up for gold because of the volatility. So now let's look at what we have for gold. So I think it's this zone is going to be a strong zone for it. When it gets to this zone, we expect a sell. So we expect market to get to this zone, then it will come down again for a sell. So this volatility will get to this place, then we drop down again to maybe possible this zone or this Fibonacci zone where we mark our Fibonacci for last week. We had this technical analysis last week. If you don't have um, this breakdown technical analysis, please do check our channels, then you will have the full details. Then we'll move up again to come and resist this. This is what we'll be expecting for gold this morning. Now let's check GBPUSD, one of my favorite pair. GBPUSD is for daily is more or less like no decision, no decision. Monday morning sometimes it tends to be like that until so. But in overall direction is there is a strong resistance here, so it's going to respect this strong resistance. So it's going to respect this strong resistance somewhere here. So once this resistance is broken, So we have a strong resistance here. If this resistance is broken, we'll be looking up again. So what overall direction is a still more of a buy. We're going to break this. If this is broken, we wait for a retest, then we zoom up again to this before we can decide anything. But let's see, for overall direction is still bullish. We're going to be looking up to this zone, right? So that is for 4 hours. Let's see. Okay, I think it's more of a buy. We are still looking out for a buy for Gbpusd. We're looking out for a buy because one, if you look the bottom line, that was a strong support, and that strong support is also have a resistance here, which is looks like a minus zone, and our point of interest is going to be up here, which is 1,36389. So Gbpusd is going to be bullish for this today and tomorrow, and possibly this week. Now let's look at S&P 500. You know, S&P 500 is still the same thing with similar to Nasdaq, and SpaceX is also going to be listed on S&P 500 because is one of the strong tech companies. So that's why you also expect this gap. So what we'll be expecting here is almost similar to Nasdaq. We expect this zone to come and get to this level, possible come back and refill this gap. And once that gap is refilled to this zone, minus zone, then we can push up again. So that means we're going to be having a level here where we'll be thinking the market will come back to. If possible, this should be our fifth zone. If we check our fifth, that may likely be our fifth zone. Let's see if we can use that. Yeah, it's right. That's our fifth zone. So we looking up for a possible. Now we mark this as a Fibonacci zone, which is 0.5 zone, right? That's what we said earlier. So I think we are right on that, and we will be looking out for. So it's going to come back to retrace and clear up this gap zone. Then we'll go for a buy, right? So that is the market for. So let's look at what we have for GBP or GBPJPY. GBPJPY has been very sluggish for some time now. I think we have more of resistance over here. We have a resistance here that has been respected, and the market is actually dropping. So let's check our daily. So there's a strong resistance here. So this resistance may be, and there is a lot of candle formation showing that it's going to be bearish. So there's a strong resistance for bearish. If you go daily, you find out that the market has respected that resistance for a sell. Yeah, it's a clear sell. Let's remove this zone because we have another strong level here where we'll be expecting our take profit if this market continues to come down. So this is how we're going to trade this today. I think GBPUSD or GBPJPY has actually shown a very good sign. This market can enter. If you want to trade this, you are good to go. This is a very clear zone for 4 hours, but if you are in 1 hour zone, I think this is what we will have. This is what we will have. Then little above 40 pip is okay for this. Let's use 40. 40 is fine for this. 40 to get, I think 204, that is 1 for 4 or 1 for 5 or 6 thereabout. So this is a clear one for JPY this morning. So that is what the market we have. I think we have done all the major pairs which I actually trade. We're not actually trading all the pairs today. So we can look at USD JPY. Let's see, this was a pair that actually surprised me last week. I was actually looking for more of a continuation of a buy, but fortunately, it didn't go that way and it dropped. I think there is no much direction this morning on this pair. You know, Monday sometimes I always advise that you wait and let's see how the market gets settled before we move ahead. But for USD JPY, there is no much direction. It's just ranging. So let's not embark on this trade this morning. Let's wait for further directive of this movement so that we now know what to do. So thank you, viewers. Thank you, dear students, all our followers. Please do not forget to subscribe and share and like so that we can continue to have this encouragement to do this technical analysis for all of us. I pray that God will continue to bless every